No, it kind of reminded me of being in Sri Lanka after the tsunami. You know, all the high debris piles and all the vehicles.
The head of one of the top search and rescue operations in Texas says the flooding from the Guadalupe River is worse than any hurricane or tornado damage that he's responded to. That is the head of Texas EquiSearch, Tim Miller. He's helped search for missing people here before. They brought boats and heavy equipment to join the response and the Texas Hill Country. Unfortunately, the last live rescue in Kerr County was made on Friday, and at least 109 bodies have been recovered. 5 campers and 1 counselor from Camp Mystic, they're still missing, and it's unclear how many people in total are unaccounted for. Officials say they're focusing their recovery efforts right now rather than the timeline of events from early last Friday morning or whether more could have been done to alert the public as floodwaters rose rapidly.
You know, I've had a lot of people come up to me that have lost their children and their loved ones and thanked me, and it's hard to even hear that because you know, they have closure, but we haven't pulled anybody out alive yet, and that's tough.
This team up here is focused on bringing people home. That's our focus. All those questions will be answered, but the priority right now is bringing people home.
President Trump and the First Lady will visit this devastated area Friday and survey the damage. And that disaster is touching lives here in our area, with a local man telling us his daughter-in-law and his grandchildren had to escape the Camp Mystic area in the middle of the night as water rose toward their cabin. Now, thankfully, they got out alive. He told Rachel Hanley how his family is coping.
The flooding is hundreds of miles from his home in Mandeville. But when Dr. Michael Sprag sees images of it on the news, they hit hard.
I'm so grateful. They were very, very fortunate.
His daughter-in-law, Patricia Sprag, lives in Texas and used to be a counselor at Camp Mystic. Her family had been going for generations. Thursday, she and her aunt took her 2 kids, 6 and 9 years old, for their first visit.
That first day was ideal. Perfect, calm water. The kids were fishing.
Then early in the morning on July 4th, the Guadalupe River started rising. The cabin was normally about 100 feet away from it, but within hours, the water was up to their porch. A little before 4 a.m., Sprag and her aunt decided to get the kids and get out.
They waded out in shin-deep water. It was pitch dark. They didn't know where they were going. They made a left-hand turn and got a little higher. And for 3 hours, they waited on a hill for the sun to come up.
The next morning is when Sprag texted her father-in-law and he found out how close his family had come to tragedy. She told him they were able to take shelter for the day in a nearby church. Then that evening, the National Guard got them out of the area. In the daylight, they were also able to see what was left of their cabin. This video shows the windows busted, furniture thrown around, and a water line just feet from the ceiling.
If they would have stayed there, it would have been a life and death kind of situation.
For Sprag, it's both a time of gratitude and sadness. He says his mind is on the parents and grandparents who weren't as lucky as himself. Rachel Handley, WWL, Louisiana.
Dr. Sprag serves as chaplain at the state capitol and says some of our lawmakers have already come to him to ask for solace as more news comes out about the Texas floods. Now, a search and rescue team from Mexico is now on the ground in Texas. They say they'll keep working until the last victim is found. A helicopter involved with the search and rescue and to make an emergency landing after they collided with a private drone. Officials say that drone was flying in restricted airspace. And today, Raising Cane CEO Todd Graves said he will donate $1 million to the American Red Cross to support the recovery efforts. We will have continuing coverage of that disaster. Look for the latest updates on our website, our free smartphone app, as well as our social media pages.